Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Today we'll be reviewing An Unexpectedly Green Journey, an upcoming release by Numbered Entity. Now, let's start with the good. An Unexpectedly Green Journey has you take the place of an orc. Yes, you heard that right. An orc. And it's an orcish life simulator, which, while I know sounds odd at a glance, is actually fantastically well written and provides a myriad of different and exciting game features. And something that's really, really cool about the game is the gameplay is entirely different based on the choices you make in the game. You can make it into a city manager, or you can just be a gladiator, or an adventurer. All of these different paths and options are open to you that change the entire genre of the game at flip of a switch. Now, obviously, it's not all good, but I will say there is much more good than bad. The only things I can really complain about in the release are some of the features feel not fleshed out, some of the choices feel limiting. When you go to a city builder path, it feels like you're forced into either being a shaman, uh, religious city, or you're going to have to make a more corrupt city, which is fine. It's certainly a way to frame it, but with all of the extensive gameplay features, it just feels like there could have been more there. Um, but they still give you a lot of choice. And as I was saying, the extensive gameplay features, it's really in depth. You can manage everything from what buildings are being made to who's building them to your military to uh, your economy. It's all very, very interesting. My personal favorite path is that of the Green Emperor, which is a perfect, um, perfect way of taking a realm manager and putting it into a choice script format. It gives you all of the options you want. It gives you a story backed behind it, a powerful story at that, but a story that I will say isn't all that moving. You're not going to cry in this book. You might laugh a few times, um, but the story overall in general is nothing particularly special. That said, the gameplay mechanics are fantastic. It takes the nature of what a choice script video game should be and pushes the boundaries to the next level. Um, in terms of customization, it is a little bit lacking. You don't get to choose much of your appearance. You don't get to choose any romance options. You don't get to choose. Um, you don't get to choose much about yourself personally. The game is entirely about your effect on the outer world, the world around you. And I will say, I kind of like it. I like the shift of focus from what we're used to with choice script always being a personal experience and journey to now being a journey about the world around you and having your choices make meaningful impacts that have very clear and defined results. Um, and I will say, while it's not exactly the while the story isn't exactly special, some of the scenes can make you feel like a real badass. The way that Numbered Entity describes things is honestly quite fantastic if you're looking for something in the fantasy genre and you're looking for this epic story. Now, you're not going to get in terms of you're not going to get it all the time, and you're not going to get it in emotional moments, but you are going to get moments that make you feel like you can destroy the world, or you can rule the world, or you're about to get your ass handed to you. And it does a really good job of balancing all of this, and it handles all of the topics it talks about, um, themes of slavery and injustice and uh, war in uh, a very, a very respectful light. And one of my gripes with the game is they take the Tolkien idea of the evil orc and they flip it on its head. But the thing is that while they present us with a new perspective of what orcs can be, while still keeping all of the nature that makes an orc, they then just turn around and say, "Oh, and by the way, and dark elves are evil." It feels like we're not getting as much perspective. The dark elves we certainly get more perspective for than the cyclopses. Um, the dark elves we see that they've been historically oppressed by the other elves, and to that extent, it certainly makes it a much more justifiable and believable thing. But um, having an entire race of people be religious fanatics is a little bit close-minded, I will say. But outside of that, it's fantastic. The gripes are ultimately minimal. The gameplay, as I said, you can change between genres at a whim. Well, not quite at a whim. You will be presented with a choice eventually to lock it in, but the the introduction leading up to that lets you really get a good sense of the people around you without having any actual characters, which is very interesting because it gives you this sense of community, but it doesn't give you anyone specific. Um, sure, they have one or two recurring characters, but that's really about it. It's really a game about adventuring. And to that point, it's a game where you can adventure a lot. A lot. The game's over 1.5 million words. Anyways, that's just my thoughts. And overall, I give it a nice 9 out of 10. Very, very highly recommend. And cheers.